Talk about 0 to 100. Chelsea's switch from Erling Haaland to the pursuit of Romelu Lukaku is a prime example. And that is what we're going to talk about today. So don't go anywhere. Taron, welcome back again to Chelsea Perspective.
Thank you for having me on. Yes, like I said in the last episode, it was a while before I came on, but I'm really excited to be back on, and let's get straight into it. Let's not waste any time.
Awesome. Always good to have you back. So Tyrone, it's quite an interesting time to be a Chelsea supporter. About a week ago or so, it was all about Chelsea's pursuit of Erling Haaland, how much it was going to be. Chelsea put in a bid. Oh, it was a false alarm. Chelsea didn't put in any bid. Chelsea was going to put a bid in a few days' time, and then boom, Chelsea did put in a bid already for Romelu Lukaku. He's coming back to Chelsea. And there's been a story even before that Lukaku himself said he's happy at Inter. Inter Milan put out a statement saying they want to keep him. They don't want to sell him. Filippo Inzaghi also said he wants to keep him. So what changed? Why all of a sudden a change of heart by the Chelsea board, switching from the pursuit of Erling Haaland to Romelu Lukaku just like this? What happened?
Well, first of all, I'll say the Erling Haaland rumors were never really advanced. They were always kind of, we'll only get Haaland if we bid the amount they want. There was never really an advancement as we want. And I feel like before we started the Haaland rumors, the board were working on backups. They were working on someone that, they could rely on. We definitely needed a number 9 next season. There was no doubt we were going to go into that season without a new, world-class striker. So there's definitely, we're a top club. We don't just look at one player. There's definitely talks on behind the scenes for, 10 players probably right now, midfielders, centre-backs, strikers, all different kinds of players right now. But the Lukaku rumours, they were advanced after we knew that, the Haaland rumours were not true. We're not going to get him. The Lukaku bid was much easier to do than the Dortmund bid. Obviously, we'd have to pay the massive agent fee to Dortmund for Haaland. Would have to pay all the 170 million, euros for that. And this deal for Lukaku seems much easier. So, it's not like it's a bad deal as well. We'll get into this a bit later, but this is a great deal for this player and it's much easier to do. So I can understand where the board have gone with Lukaku, and it's definitely not a backup option. I'll tell you that now.
So the question is, was the club ever? You said was there any sort of communication between Chelsea and Dortmund regarding Chelsea Erling Haaland, or were those rumors all nonsense?
There was definitely contact. No, a lot of contact between Michael Zorc and Marina Granovskaya, who Michael Zorc is Borussia Dortmund director of football. There was a lot of talk behind the scenes. How much would the fee be? Could there be a swap deal with a player plus money? How much would the wages be for Haaland? How much would the agent fees be for Haaland? And the talks were, the personal terms were not an issue for Haaland. It was definitely the talk between the agents and Chelsea were all good. It was just that fee that Dortmund wanted to keep Haaland with another year, unless a crazy offer came about. So there was definitely talks behind the scenes for multiple weeks during the Euros, after the Euros, and fortunately the clubs could not come to an agreement on that particular deal. So hence the Lukaku rumour speeding up as we've seen now. And like I said, we will get into that in a lot of detail in a second. But there was a lot of talk. Yeah, you can go.
So there were informal communication between the two clubs of nothing concrete, nothing official. No bid was put in, just informal communications. Okay, that's by the way. Let's now come to the man of the moment. Is the signing of that is the return of Romelu Lukaku to Chelsea Football Club? Is it imminent, or is this still? Because you could argue about 2 weeks ago or so, if you ask some content creators, some people would say for sure that the club are negotiating with Dortmund, or for sure by the end of next week that Chelsea will most definitely sign Erling Haaland. So the all the buzz around the return of Romelu Lukaku to Chelsea Football Club, is it not the same thing, or is it different this time? Are we really going after that is seeking the signature of Romelu Lukaku, and is it true?
Well, at the time of recording, I'm going to be honest, it is the 7th of August UK time, 12:30 in the morning. It is imminent. And by imminent, it means it is going to happen. Unless something drastic happens with his medicals, something really, really serious would happen right now. Romelu Lukaku is going to be wearing the Chelsea shirt in the next week or so. He will be there, it is believed, unless, something, like I said, something bad will happen. He will be playing in time for the Super Cup. Everything will be signed. A deal is about to be agreed of 150 million euro straight cash for Lukaku. There was talks about a swap deal, talks about Zappa Costa being included, talks about a few other players being included, Marcos Alonso. But Romelu Lukaku is going to be a Chelsea player very soon, much more advanced, as you can tell, to Haaland rumours. There's been many talks between the clubs. Lukaku has had conversations with Thomas Tuchel. He is buzzing to be back at Stamford Bridge to prove the fans wrong that he is a world-class striker, and he did deserve to play if I saw them years ago. So this transfer is a matter of a matter of when, not if. It is going to happen very, very soon.
Okay, let me ask you this question now. We've established that his return to Stamford Bridge is imminent, but does it make financial sense? If yes, how?
Great question again. And I know, Coachila, you are a guy who likes the club to make good financial decisions. You do like the club to make good decisions for the future, the finances of the club. So I'll explain why this is a good financial deal. I'll start by using Erling Haaland as an example right now. His deal would have cost 150 million euros, pounds, plus a 50 million euro agent fee for Mino Raiola, which would have come to 200 million just by itself, including his wages, which would have been 400,000 a week, for a 5-year deal. So this is a crazy deal. The Erling Haaland deal would have, in my opinion, broke world football completely in terms of players. So that would have been very unlikely. I mean, the Lukaku deal makes sense 100%. People are saying 100 million for a 28-year-old. How on earth could that be financially stable? Well, let me explain to you now. 28-year-old, he will be in his prime right now. You can see the way he's playing. He will be a top-class striker for the next 5 years, at least, in my opinion. He's quite similar to Robert Lewandowski. Robert Lewandowski is 33 years old. He's scoring 40 goals in the Bundesliga right now. This is an example, first of all, rival. We're paying 100 million for a guy who's going to be, for the next 5 years, winning us titles, winning us Champions Leagues. We don't need to worry about him adapting to the league. We don't need to worry about him, having time to get used to the players around him. This guy will deliver right now. He will get goals in the Premier League. He will take us from 4th place up to 2nd, up to 1st, for 100% sure. This guy, it makes 100% financial sense. His wages will only be, obviously, this is crazy money, 290k a week compared to Haaland's, 400,000 a week. So his wages for a club like Chelsea are completely, understandable for what he'll do for the club. It is a very, very financially understandable deal. And people are saying, there's no sell-on fee in the future. How can we earn our money back on Lukaku? How will anything get paid back? Think about Didier Drogba at Chelsea. He came for us. He got us a title. He scored in Munich. He won us Premier Leagues. He left the club for free. The money was paid back. Lukaku will win us Premier Leagues, hopefully win us trophies. The money will be paid back in itself. We don't need to sell him on. Then he can leave the club, for free to a Saudi Arabian club, to a Chinese club. So this deal is a financial masterclass.
There's something that we need to be honest to ourselves about here is there's no guarantee he will help us win titles. We cannot guarantee that. No matter even Haaland, we cannot guarantee that if he comes to Chelsea, he will help us win title. We're only, speculating or making calculation based on what he's done where he is right now. But when it comes to Chelsea, things change. You and I know that. It becomes a different ball game altogether. But that is, by the way, and can we say between Lukaku and Erling Haaland, who's better? If you ask that question, who would you say is better? Statistical-wise, who would you say is better?
Well, statistically, it's Erling Haaland. Statistically, it is him. But we all know, Coachella, me and you, the game is not just about numbers. Think of Andres Iniesta when he was playing. He didn't have the numbers that will make him seem like he was the best midfielder in history. But the things he did in that pitch, let's think of Lukaku's numbers. He got the most assists at Inter last season, the most goals, the most touches in the final third. the most key passes. This guy was the clockwork for Inter in a centre forward role. He was the guy who let everyone else come into play. For me, Haaland was just a goal scorer for Dortmund. And I know that's quite harsh, but he flourished with Jadon Sancho next to him, with Giovanni Reina next to him, with Thomas Meunier next to him, all these other players that will bring him and create the chances for him as a whole. Lukaku was the guy who made Hakimi play well. He made Lautaro Martinez come out of his shell and play well. He made Christian Eriksen revitalize his form. This guy really made everyone else better. So yes, if you look at the stats, Haaland, crazy goals, but overall as a player, and what stats don't tell you is Lukaku overall for me is a better player overall. Obviously, he is a better player, but when Haaland is Lukaku's age, I think he will be better.
Okay, that's by the way. What if I argue now saying, in terms of that is selling value? Erling Haaland is just 21, right? And if we had gotten Erling Haaland and he comes to Chelsea and stays like 2-3 years and decides he wants to move on, he'll still be very young, and we will get a sizable fee from his sale. And I don't see, you and I know Chelsea will not pay anything above 150 or 120 million and then give him just a 4-year contract. It will be up to 5 or 6. So after 3 years, if he decides he wants to move on, we'll get a sizable fee from his sale. And that's because he's still young. But in the case of Lukaku, he's 28. And we've agreed there's no guarantee that what a player has done, a player's achievement in a club doesn't guarantee that he will achieve something that of equal measure in another club or outdo what he's done in the other club. So I'm saying Lukaku at 28, if he comes and underperforms, it's a big problem. There's no selling value. That's the truth. So I'm still not sure. I have nothing against him. Believe me, he's a good player. But my issue has always been the cost. Has he improved? Yes, he's improved. Still, we'll come back to the cost. Paying anything above 100 million for a player who is 28, who you cannot guarantee will perform. Nobody is guaranteed. Even Haaland isn't guaranteed. Even Lewandowski isn't guaranteed to perform if he leaves Bayern Munich to Chelsea. And you and I know that's the truth. Prime examples being Fernando Torres, Andrea Shevchenko, and what's his name again? Alvaro Morata. Some players we knew how good they were before we signed them, but they came to Chelsea, they did not live up to expectations. And the same thing, that's why I'm saying there's no guarantee. So how, again, does the deal make sense? That's something I do not understand. He's good. And I agree, he's improved, I agree, but there's no guarantee he will perform up to that level if he comes to Chelsea. And one other factor that we must consider is this. In some cases, teams or managers would have to adjust the way they play or tweak, if you want, to accommodate a new player, to get the best out of a new signing. Don't you think that will be the case? And again, how does this deal make sense? Will he help us solve a problem short term? Of course, I do believe he's capable of doing so, but there's no guarantee. So tell me, Taron, how does it make sense, and how is it going to fit into the way we play? Is it good enough to fit into the way we play? Not good enough, let me say, his profile as a player, will it work with the way Tuchel wants to play?
Well, football is all about risks, and in football, nothing is guaranteed. Like you said, you can't even guarantee if we got Mbappe into our team, Messi, that they'll perform as well. But football is all about risks. You take risks and you get rewards in the end. Lukaku, if we bring him in, I want to ask you, Coachella, first of all, if we sign Erling Haaland for £155 million in the summer and the £40 million agent pound fee that we'd have to pay, 200 million would sign Haaland for in the summer, and he doesn't perform well. I understand your sell-on fee kind of argument, but then his value drops massively after a year at Chelsea. As you've seen, his release clause next year will be £75 million. If we sign Haaland for £200 million and his value drops massively, he performs awfully in his first season at Chelsea, we would have lost £100 million on Erling Haaland, and that would be a massive loss. We'd have Mino Raiola connected to our club, first of all. This guy will be notorious for sucking money out of the clubs that he's, his clients play for. He's notorious for, getting massive sell-on fees into the clubs that he's his clients play for. So, Lukaku, I understand he's 28. The risk for Lukaku, 100 million, he doesn't have much time to, earn back all that value and all that stuff like that. But Lukaku, for me, is a much, much higher percentage of him performing better than Erling Haaland right now. And that's the fact that Erling Haaland, let's think of Timo Werner, for example. Yes, completely different player to Haaland. In the Bundesliga, Timo Werner had so much time, so much room, scoring 30 goals in the Bundesliga last season. He has struggled so much. See, Erling Haaland, there's no guarantee that he's going to come in and perform. Lukaku at Everton, he was world-class. At West Brom when he played, he was amazing. At Man United in his first year, before Solskjaer came in, he was amazing. And then that drop-off came. Solskjaer came in, everything kind of went downhill for him. But this guy is Premier League proven. Haaland is not Premier League proven. So the risk factor is always there in football. But for Lukaku, it's much less. And like I said, Erling Haaland will be a much bigger loss if we failed with him and would have Mino Raiola connected to our club. So Lukaku is a much less riskier deal. And I believe even short-term and mid-term, it's going to benefit us with trophies and a lot of money very, very quickly.
I've got to say that's a great response to that question, because it was a difficult one to answer. But coming to the other part of the last question I asked you, do you think his overall profile as a player will fit well into the way we play? Because we like players who can drop deep, support the play, create chances for your teammate when you don't get a chance to score. You don't have to always be the one to score. But yes, we want, when it comes to you, when you get at the end of the crosses, on the carpet, in the air, put the chances away, good. But not always. You must always be able to drop back, support the play, not always about you. So do you think his overall profile as a player will fit the way we play? He will fit in perfectly into our current team.
Yeah, 100%. And, first of all, I'll say when Lukaku left Man United, there was a lot of talk about his first touch being quite bad. He wasn't great at bringing other players into the game. Players like, Fellaini and Herrera complained about him in interviews saying, Lukaku kind of cost us here and there. But Lukaku, since he's gone to Inter Milan, you could say that's a different league. But I compare the Serie A very, very close to the Premier League in terms of tactical knowledge in the way teams play. He has improved so much hold-up play. Not just a guy who will, put the ball into the back of the net like a few players at Chelsea. He is a guy who will link up. Like I mentioned earlier in the stream, he made Hakimi play so well this year with his passes. He was so good with Lautaro Martinez. There was an instance where I think his name was, I'm not quite sure, this youth player had a chance. He came on the pitch late on after they won the title, and Lukaku could have scored to get his hat-trick in the game, but he gave the penalty to this youth player to get his first goal in the Serie A, and that was a great moment of teamwork. So I think Lukaku, in the current system he played, he's very, very good at dropping deep. He can open up the space. As we know, he can hold up any defender close in the box. He is a lethal finisher, which is what we need right now. He's very fluid in his way. He can switch. Like I said, with Lautaro Martinez, he would switch between left striker, right striker, cam, left wing, right wing. And, our front three is very fluid with Havertz, Pulisic, and Werner. They interchange quite a lot. Lukaku has the agility and the balance and the athleticism to switch easily. So I think he is perfect. And all we need right now is a goal scorer who can press well, who can drop deep, who could do a lot of stuff. Lukaku never stops running it into Milan. Great at receiving the ball, great at finishing. Thomas Tuchel has had personal calls with him saying, I want you at the club. You are my player. I want you badly. And he knows that Lukaku is the right man. So trust me right now, he is going to hit off at Chelsea. And there's a very, very low chance he's going to flop because I know he's going to do well.
I believe you, and you've presented a very, very compelling argument, I have to say. And let me ask you this. You seem to be confident that Chelsea will get the deal over the line as soon as possible. First, you said the deal is definitely imminent. Can you say specifically that Chelsea will be able to get the deal over the line in a few days?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, for the transfer market, you can never guarantee, like I said, something could happen with the contracts, But what I'm saying right now, from everything I've read, Gianluca Di Marzio, Fabrizio Romano, Matt Law, many, many reliable journalists, this deal is literally just Chelsea. As soon as they make that bid, which will be over the weekend, Lukaku, he's already agreed personal terms. The contract has been, written up. He is going to come for Chelsea. And there's talk of him being there for the Super Cup. Already, Christophe Terra, who's a very reliable French journalist, has said Lukaku is going to be ready for the Super Cup. So it's a matter of when, not if. Is it going to be Saturday? Is it going to be Sunday? Is it going to be Monday? Is it going to be Tuesday? But it will be before the Super Cup. And 150 million euros will go to Inter Milan, which will be 97 million pounds. Sorry. The wages, like I said, will be £292,000 a week, and the deal is just about to happen. And unless something really, really catastrophic happens, Lukaku is a Chelsea player.
Yeah, I must say, given that his wage is just 295, and in comparison to what Erling Haaland would cost, is if we're Benton securing his signature, it will be. I think Lukaku makes financial sense in that aspect, not minding his age, in terms of the salary, wages, and no demands from his agent. I think it's a lesser money. It's lesser than that of Erling Haaland. So, Taron, what advice do you have for the Chelsea fan base and whoever gets to watch this video, who's disappointed that the club switched from what we all thought was happening, pursuit of Erling Haaland, all of a sudden to Lukaku, and to the point of the deal is imminent, and he could be donning the blue shirt, the blue jersey against Villarreal in a few days. What advice do you have to them, for them, who can say are not happy?
Yeah, I mean, it's not nice. Many fans wanted Haaland. Obviously, he is one of the best strikers in the world. He will be, one of the best strikers in history, I'm sure, in the future. But Lukaku right now is better than Haaland overall as a player. He will win us the title very, very soon. I know you can't guarantee it, but I'm very, very sure he will. A lot of other factors, but, it is sad that Haaland's not going to sign. It was a very, very financially crazy deal with Erling Haaland. The wages would have been crazy. Everything would have been absolutely insane, even for Chelsea standards. So, unfortunately, it was a dream for many Chelsea fans, but Haaland will not be coming to Chelsea, unfortunately. And you need to back Lukaku because he's going to do a madness at Chelsea. Just watch out.
Yes, thank you very much for that advice. If he comes in, it's our responsibility to back him. He's one of us. He's confessed his love for the club on occasions. I still remember a video of teenage Lukaku touring the Stamford Bridge facility, saying how much he loves the club and the facility. And it's our responsibility to back him if eventually the club gets the deal across the line. And Taron, again, it's been an absolute pleasure discussing this topic for you, with you. And please, I'd like you to take some time again, tell the viewers or whoever gets to watch this video about the Perfect Hat Trick podcast, what you have planned, and what it's all about.
Yeah, thank me on again. I love to come on the channel. I love the arguments. You really make me think about my brain about the questions you ask. I know your job is to do that in real life, so it's very interesting that you do that on your channel as well. So, the Perfect Hat Trick podcast is, a very, very, I say, interesting podcast. Obviously, it's teenagers talking football in a more analytical way than you'd expect. And, this Monday, like I said, the 9th of August, we'll be talking everything Chelsea, everything other topics. And it'll be a very, very exciting thing. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for having me on, and we'll see you soon.
Yes, guys, you've heard the man. There you go. His Twitter handle on the screen, and I will leave the complete information for the Perfect Hat Trick, so you go check it out yourself. I've talked enough about how much I love it. I think it's about time you go check it out yourself, and I promise you will not be disappointed. And again, please don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and more importantly, click on the bell notification button so that you will be notified whenever I upload a new video. Taron, again, thank you so much for finding the time to present this episode of Transfer Talk with me. I sincerely do appreciate that.